Ring around the rosy, a pocket full of posies.
What's up guys, Deceiver here. I'm back with another one of my terrifying paranormal experiences. The reason this is such a disturbing thing for me to talk about is because it was not just a one-time occurrence. It's been several years now. It gives me chills to even say this spirit's name. The spirit may very well be the reasoning for so many negative things happening in my life. This is not the demon from my first video, by the way. And this video is also going to be the first video containing a special guest and interview on video. The name of this spirit is Misty. The first time I talked to this spirit was at my friend Hunter's house. There were a lot of us playing with the Ouija board that night. Many of the people there did not even believe the Ouija board was real, and I'm pretty sure they don't believe it to this day. We talked to a spirit named Nate the first night for hours and hours. He was very chill and seemed to connect to us as he was a teenager himself at the time. But throughout us talking to him on the board, a joking type spirit kept coming up, and she named herself Misty. Something about Misty and the way she talked on the board was very sketchy, and it put me on edge. You could hear bumps and bangs in the corner where she said she was. Most of the people there weren't thinking much about it, and I mean a few of us were just kind of joking around, so the overall atmosphere wasn't very scary anyway. But this was just the tip of the iceberg when it came to this spirit. The next time I spoke to this spirit, I was at my friend Hunter's house again, except this time it was just me, him, and another one of our friends. We decided to play with the Ouija board and lit a candle next to it. I don't remember the demon we spoke to that night giving us its name, but after that night I knew exactly who it was, and I'll explain why I know this a little later in the video. Anyway, we were talking to the spirit and it was cussing at us, telling us that it could do things outside the Ouija board, and I challenged it, which was a huge mistake to begin with. I cursed back at it, saying it couldn't do anything because at this point I still didn't take the Ouija board extremely seriously. Once I saw that it wouldn't do anything, I taunted it even further, telling it that I knew it wouldn't do anything and that it couldn't. We talked a little more, and after a while, we told it was time to say goodbye, but instead it spelled out, "Sleep well." At that very moment, the candle went out and blew itself out. Needless to say, I did not sleep very well that night, nor did I sleep very well for several weeks. After that, I took the Ouija board over to my friend Brandon's house. Me, Brandon, Ben, and Brandon's mom played with the board. We ended up talking to Nate again, which was fine because Nate was very cool. He even helped us prove to Brandon's mom that it was real and prove it to myself as well. I asked him to spell out the word computer, but I didn't say it out loud. I said it in my head, and he was still able to spell it out without me touching the board. How else would this be possible, unless the board is in fact real? The other guys obviously can't read my mind. Brandon's mom sat in the corner, skeptical, and asked it how many cigarettes she had in her pack. It said a number. She said no, that was wrong, and left the room after we talked a little more. When Ben went outside to smoke a cigarette, Brandon's mom admitted she had lied about the number and that the Ouija board had in fact guessed it right. She just didn't want to admit that it could be real. A little later that night, Nate warned us about the spirit Misty. He told us she was up to no good and not to trust her. He also said that he wouldn't be able to talk to us again after this night. Later that night, me and Ben left Brandon's house. It was foggy outside that night. When we got outside and started driving, I looked at Ben and said, "Wow, it's really misty outside." I paused. Why the hell did I say misty instead of foggy? Fast forward about 2 weeks. By this time, I haven't been able to sleep almost at all unless it was daylight out. I constantly felt like someone was in the corner of my room watching me. My room was always about 10 degrees warmer than the other rooms in the house, and unless I turned the fans on high and the air conditioning down. Several years later, by this time, a lot of weird things have happened. Several people in my family have described seeing a black-haired girl in my house, but we don't have any young girls in our family, other than my daughter, but she's not black-haired and she's not very big. She's only 2 years old. I'll be making a separate video where my family members will describe their experiences with this girl, but for now I have a special guest interview with my little brother and my middle brother that's going to tell you his experience with the spirit Misty. He doesn't know for sure if it was her, but from the way he describes her, I'm pretty sure that's who it is. What's going on, guys? So this is going to be the first interview for this channel that I've done so far. And yeah, I know we're going to have to do this a little bit ghetto. I've got this headset still. I don't have a microphone yet. So I'm going to have to do this introduction. Then I'm going to hand it over to my brother here. He's going to tell you what happened to him one night. And to be honest, he was just telling me a little bit about it before I started filming this. And it's creeped me out a little bit. So I hope you guys like it.
So it was a normal night, and I go to bed not watching anything scary, not to make me dream about anything scary. When I went to sleep, I ended up on a porch I've never seen before, with a rocking chair on the side, and people I don't remember in the dream. We were standing around talking, and all of a sudden a girl with a white dress on and black hair hanging down in her face walks up to the window beside us, beside the rocking chair, and just hits her head on the window and walks back, and then keeps on doing it. And then so we just stood there and we're like, what in the world is that? We didn't even go inside or nothing, obviously. Like, it was
So you're still dreaming at this point.
Yeah, we're still dreaming. I'm still dreaming. And so it just walks away. I don't know where it went. And so for a few seconds we were just talking like, well, that was weird and everything. And all of a sudden it came running back, ran back, and jumped up on the window and started like climbing up the window, is what it looked like. And then I jumped up instantly and walked right in front of the window, and she stopped. She wasn't doing that anymore. She was just standing there looking. And when she looked at me, it was like time froze, and then all I could hear was screaming like hell, like people screaming like they were getting ripped apart, that kind of frantic screaming. And I woke up and it was still screaming in my head, and I could still see her eyes.
Like, where did you see her eyes?
Like, it was like, you know how you wake up and you're like, everything's fuzzy? I could just imagine her black eyes right there. Like, it looked like she was looking straight down at me, and I could just hear hell just going crazy. And
After you woke up.
And then I woke up, and the first thing I do...
I thought that was after you woke up.
Yeah, after I woke up, I still heard the screaming, and then it finally stopped, and I freaked out, and I woke up Abria and everything. And then when I was starting to lay down again, the TV went off. It was on Netflix, and it said continue watching, and it just went on, American Dad. And the episode that was on, it was the very beginning of the episode, and it was of Haley, Stan's daughter. He put her into a school to mind control her. And the weird thing about that was, a week prior, our stepdad was having troubles, I guess. We were worried about him because he was being sick and he wasn't acting normal. So that kind of connected to me, as in that's the relativity of the story, is that spiritual attack came from him, which tells me that it was on our family, and it continues to be on our family.
Did it like say anything to you?
Didn't say anything. Nothing. I just know how it felt. And it felt so real that you can't deny it.
Anything else that happened?
Not that I can explain. I remember praying and feeling peace after that. But for about 10 minutes, I was sitting there thinking something was about to come up on me or something. But it was bad.
Alright. Alright, there you go, guys. I didn't hear the whole story. I only knew a little bit about it before this, so sounds pretty damn creepy to me. And I mean, after I found out about it, I was like, oh crap, I hope this don't happen to me or my daughter or my girlfriend or anything like that, or anybody else in the family. Hopefully it just leaves us alone, but you never know. This thing could still be lingering around, and I'm thinking that it's the same spirit that I have had come in and out of my life for several years now. But either way, guys, that was the interview, and we're going to be doing more interviews here soon. It's been a couple months since I've had any incidents happen so far, but it does worry me that my daughter has such bad nightmares, and periodically I do have dreams about an entity trying to get inside me or pinning me to the wall. I truly do hope that nothing comes of this and this entity stays away. By the power of how much Christian stuff in my mother's house, I'm not still sure if she's around, and I truly hope that she isn't. Well, guys, this was my story about probably one of the scariest entities that I've encountered and still may be around to this day. I hope you guys found this interesting, and if you did, leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.